Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, the severe weather outbreak, life-saving beach drone rescue, and the world's most famous frog ready to take center stage. Destruction in the heartland. At least 5 reported tornadoes touching down. Neighborhoods barely recognizable. Lightning striking this police car. Ginger is in Oklahoma with a look at the damage and where the threat is headed next.
President Trump speaks with Vladimir Putin for more than 2 hours about ending the war in Ukraine. But why a deal may be no closer.
Urgent investigation in the deadly ship collision into the Brooklyn Bridge. This morning, the crucial information the NTSB hasn't yet accessed.
Overnight, caught. A 4th fugitive who escaped a Louisiana jail arrested. This morning, how officials are using facial recognition technology to search for 6 more men on the run.
New timeline in the Karen Reed murder trial. A digital forensics expert raises questions about what may have happened in the final seconds when prosecutors say Reed backed her SUV into her boyfriend.
New evidence in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The jury seen images of his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura bruised as 2 women testify they saw the music mogul assault her.
Life-saving drone rescue.
I was shaking pretty bad. It was nerve-wracking. I about cried.
A teenage girl battles a rip current for 5 long minutes 100 yards offshore. How a drone saved the swimmer and what it means for swim safety ahead of Memorial Day weekend.
And oh, did we have a late night. A lot of love in the room, honoring 50 years of GMA. As a familiar friend gets ready to take center stage.
I thought about, what I would wish that I'd have known when I first left the swamp and followed my dream of heading out to Hollywood.
Words of wisdom from the world's most famous frog.
I think each and every one of you deserves a great big yay!
As we jump into Tuesday.
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
Definitely got the Tuesday feels. Got to have much more in Kermit coming up in Pop News. And Costco is jumping on the buy now, pay later bandwagon, and we'll tell you how it works.
Also, that mortgage rates are on the rise now, back above 7%. So our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, standing by to break down what this could mean for the home buyers and the housing market.
But we begin with the latest round of severe weather overnight. At least 5 reported tornadoes, powerful wind gusts, and huge hail pummeled the heartland. Ginger's in Oklahoma with a glimpse of the damage. Good morning, Ginger.
Michael, we're about 2.5 hours southeast of Oklahoma City. Behind me, another field of debris. This home ripped apart, gutted, and this entire wall off. This is just one of the hundreds, if not thousands, of homes and neighborhoods that are left in ruin in the last 6 days across the nation. A path of destruction in the heartland. Homes destroyed in Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma. A drone capturing the extent of the devastation. Homes flattened, and those still standing had their roofs torn off.
A lot of damage from the tornado.
An entire neighborhood barely recognizable. Debris scattered across fields. This camper picked up and tossed. Trees taking down power lines and slamming into homes and cars. Lightning striking this police car in Newcastle, Oklahoma. Luckily, the cruiser was empty and no one was injured. It's been nearly a week of severe storms across the nation. Almost 2,000 severe storm reports in all. Deadly tornadoes across multiple states killing more than 24 people, destroying thousands of homes. Northwest of Wichita, AccuWeather storm chaser Tony Lawback up close and personal with a wedge tornado crossing Interstate 70 in Grinnell, Kansas Sunday. Kentucky, hardest hit. At the London Corbin Airport, this small plane removed from piles of debris. Satellite images showing the before and after of widespread damage in northern St. Louis. Entire city blocks left in ruin and public outrage after warning sirens didn't sound in many areas.
Many people are asking about that, Ginger. You know about that. But the same towns like London, Kentucky, just got so hard hit in those days. They could face some major issues again today.
Yes, Robin, they will get hit again. It will be different. Damaging wind looks like the main threat, but they're also under a flood watch in London, Kentucky. So many other parts that got hit. I want to mention on the sirens, too, just because the community, people were upset they didn't sound outside of St. Louis. We would like to remind everyone, emergency managers, meteorologists, that sirens should be a last resort. You should have 2 ways of getting warnings, including a NOAA weather radio. That's really the one that'll save your life. Let me time out the storms here. Throughout the afternoon, you will see a progression of this line that we've woken up with to move to the east, but it's that second part in the afternoon and evening that brings that cold front, and that's where the real power is going to come from. We call it QLCS, these lines with embedded tornadoes possible. So that's why we find ourselves with the level 3 out of 5 from Tupelo to Birmingham and Huntsville over into northwest Georgia, most of Tennessee and Kentucky involved today. It's going to be another bad one. Robin.
All right, our thanks to you. We'll get back to you in just a little bit, Ginger.
Okay, Robin, we're going to get the latest now on the war in Ukraine. President Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin in a 2.5-hour call where he appeared to back off his pressure on the Russian president for an immediate ceasefire. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz has the story. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. The call between Putin and Trump was lengthy and seemingly friendly. The two addressed one another by first names, but there is no sign that anything significant happened in the pursuit of peace.
Overnight, President Trump at a Kennedy Center event at the White House saying his call showed signs of progress, referring to the man who started the deadly war as a gentleman.
My little conversation with a nice gentleman named Vladimir Putin.
Despite the laughter, Russia's brutal assault on Ukraine, now in its 4th year, shows no sign of stopping, despite President Trump's optimism right after the call.
I think something's going to happen. It's a very big egos involved, I tell you. Big egos involved. But I think something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'd just back away and they're going to have to keep going.
President Trump may want it to wrap up, and Ukraine's President Zelensky certainly does, already committing to a 30-day ceasefire. But there were no breakthroughs with Russia, no indication that Vladimir Putin intends to join a ceasefire, and no indication of any real pressure on Putin.
I said, when are we going to end this, Vladimir? I've known him for a long time now. I said, when are we going to end this bloodshed, this bloodbath? It's a bloodbath. And I do believe he wants to end it.
Trump also reaffirming his trust in Vladimir Putin, but saying that Ukraine and Russia should do the negotiating now, suggesting the two sides meet at the Vatican after an invitation from Pope Leo to host any meetings that might come of this. But there is no indication anything has been scheduled.
Ukraine's President Zelensky, who spoke to President Trump twice on Monday, said he reaffirmed to Trump that Ukraine is ready for a full and unconditional ceasefire. But if Russia is not ready to stop the killing, he said, there must be stronger sanctions. George?
And that's what we've seen for the last several weeks. Okay, Martha, thanks very much. Robin?
And George, now to the Supreme Court, allowing the White House to remove temporary protected status that was granted in 2023 for some 350,000 people from Venezuela living here in the U.S. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott has the latest. And Rachel, we know this pending appeal of the case, this could pave the way for deportations. Good morning.
Good morning, Robin. It could, and this decision by the Supreme Court will impact many migrants who were allowed to live and work in the United States for humanitarian reasons. The Supreme Court ruling that the Trump administration can cancel temporary protections for up to 350,000 Venezuelans. This is a policy that was put in place by former President Joe Biden, citing the political instability in the country. The Trump administration calling it exploitation and an emergency request. They asked the Supreme Court to weigh in. The decision was swift but not extensive. The justices did not explain their ruling. Immigration advocates warn this will send migrants back to dangerous living conditions, but the Trump administration is calling this a win. And they have also asked the Supreme Court to end similar humanitarian protections for thousands of immigrants from Cuba to Haiti. That could set the stage for possible large-scale deportations, Robin.
It could do that. Okay, Rachel. And the president is heading to Capitol Hill today to rally his party around his new spending bill. What more can you tell us about that?
Yes, Robin. So Speaker Mike Johnson wants this massive tax and spending bill passed by Memorial Day in the House. But several hardline Republicans are not on board, at odds over Medicaid requirements and whether the bill will actually add to the deficit. The president knows he cannot really afford to lose any votes here, so he'll try to get his party in line on Capitol Hill today, Robin.
All right. Our thanks to you, Rachel. Michael?
All right, Robin, thank you. Now to the NTSB investigation into the crash of the Mexican Navy sailboat into the Brooklyn Bridge that killed 2 people. Stephanie Ramos is at the bridge with the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
Michael, good morning. You can see the ship is still docked here on the east side of Manhattan. A majority of the crew has returned to Mexico, while the essential crew is still here, staying on the ship as authorities investigate what caused it to crash.
This morning, the NTSB is on the hunt for answers as to what caused that Mexican Navy tall ship to slam into the Brooklyn Bridge Saturday night, killing 2 sailors. The agency says it hasn't yet accessed the ship or its engine data, both crucial in its investigation.
We are working with our counterparts in the Mexican government to gain access to the ship and hopefully with some of the crew members to be able to interview them.
The 297-foot-long Cuauhtémoc pulled out of a Manhattan dock with the help of a tugboat around 8:20 p.m., bound for Iceland with 277 on board. The ship reversing into the East River when it started to pick up speed. But just minutes later, at 8:24, a call for help went out. 45 seconds later, the collision.
We have about at least a dozen people injured on our vessel.
Crew members were seen hanging from the mast. NYPD arrived on the scene within 5 minutes.
Even if this ship had dropped an anchor, the anchor and the anchor chain would not have enough time to catch hold to prevent this vessel from going into the bridge.
19 people were injured. Mexican officials identifying the 2 sailors killed, America Yamilet Sanchez and Adal Jair Marcos.
As for the Brooklyn Bridge, the New York City Department of Transportation's inspection shows it is structurally sound. The NTSB has not confirmed whether the ship lost power. They still need to gain access to the engine and to interview the main crew. A preliminary report could take about a month, but the final report that determines the probable cause of the accident, that could take a year to 2 years, George.
Okay, Stephanie, we're going to turn now to the manhunt for the inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail. Overnight, a 4th fugitive was captured as officials search for the remaining 6. Faith Abube is in New Orleans with the latest on that. Good morning, Faith.
Yeah, good morning to you, George. This was a much-needed breakthrough after nearly 5 days of no new arrests. Investigators frustrated. The chief of police telling me they do still believe that some of the fugitive inmates are hunkered down right here in the city.
This morning, home security footage capturing the moment authorities arrested the 4th fugitive inmate. A SWAT team in the driveway with guns drawn as 21-year-old Gary Price exits the residence with his hands raised before being taken into custody. The dramatic scene unfolding just miles from the jail, where authorities say 10 inmates escaped on Friday.
Some of them have murder backgrounds, and so all of them are considered very dangerous and probably potentially armed at this time.
It was just after midnight when they busted through defective locks at the Orleans Parish Jail. Officials say a jail staff assigned to the area was grabbing food when the inmates crawled through a hole behind a toilet in a cell. Officials unaware for at least 7 hours. 2 of the escapees later spotted on surveillance camera strolling in plain clothes around the French Quarter. ABC News obtaining this footage from the independent company using facial recognition technology to help investigators. The software credited in the arrest of suspect Kendall Miles.
So this is the camera that picked up one of the suspects?
Absolutely. So this is one of the cameras on Bourbon Street, and they were just walking side by side, and we were able to go ahead and it alerted to them.
Authorities suspect the escape may have been an inside job with help from jail staff and with friends and family helping harbor them on the run.
And Robin, the district attorney says he is concerned about the safety of witnesses and lawyers who are connected to the fugitive inmates' cases. In fact, he says 2 of his prosecutors grabbed their family members and got out of town as quickly as possible out of fear of retaliation. Robin.
Such a scary situation, Faith. Thank you. Now to another brief air traffic control outage at Newark Airport. This follows the outage that lasted up to 90 seconds a couple of weeks ago. Rhiannon Alley is here with more on that. Good morning, Rhiannon.
Good morning, Robin. Yes, this is just the latest in a series of failures for the troubled airport. The most recent outage yesterday only lasted 2 seconds. All aircraft remained safely separated and the radars did not go to black. Now, the FAA says this is the same Philadelphia air traffic control facility at the center of these recent issues. The first issue happened back on April 28th. That one lasted for 60 to 90 seconds and screens actually went dark. It also prevented controllers from speaking to aircraft during that time. The FAA also halted all departures. It caused major delays there. The FAA is investigating this most recent case, and we are told it didn't cause any significant delays, and operations are now back to normal. George.
Okay, Rhiannon, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest now on mortgage rates. They're back above 7%. Our chief business correspondent, Rick Jarvis, is here with what it means for home buyers and the housing market. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, George. Nice to see all of you. And unfortunately, what this means is that it's getting more expensive to buy a home. The average rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage hit 7.04%, its highest level since April 11th yesterday. That surge follows last week's downgrade of the U.S. credit outlook by Moody's, causing investors to look for safer investments. That then sends mortgage rates higher, George.
So this is pretty tough news for the overall market.
It is tough news for the overall market, and anyone who's been trying to buy, or even sellers out there, have felt this. The mortgage rates can cause the housing market to slow. When rates cross 7% in April, usually a very busy time for home buying, we saw a pullback of pending sales of existing homes. These higher rates also cause people to get priced out of the market, especially first-time buyers. Higher rates mean more expensive borrowing, and that can be detrimental to everyone who's on a tight budget. And as an example here, the national median listing price for a home is $431,000. 5 years ago, in May 2020, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was about 3%. So if you put 20% down for your mortgage, that payment would be about $2,300 a month. At today's rates, that same payment on the same house, over $3,100, like almost $1,000 there.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. All right, Rebecca, thank you, as always. We're going to turn now to the major honor for Pope Leo in Chicago. Will Reed is here with the story. Good morning, Will.
Hello, good morning, one and all. So, as Pope Leo's brother confirmed to George here on GMA, the Pope is a Chicago White Sox fan. Back in 2005, when he was Father Robert Prevost, known as Father Bob to his congregation, he attended Game 1 of the World Series between the White Sox and the Houston Astros. You could see it there. It was caught on the World Series broadcast. That moment has now been memorialized by the team at their stadium. The White Sox yesterday unveiling a graphic installation in the very spot where the now Pope watched that World Series game 2 decades ago. The White Sox saying the mural commemorates the Pope's Chicago roots and the, quote, unifying power of baseball on the world stage. The Pope was at that game with an old family friend who had season tickets, row 19 of section 140. The White Sox now planning to permanently commemorate his seat number 2, right where he sat. The White Sox head of marketing saying the Pope absolutely has an open invite to come sit in section 140 to throw out a first pitch. Heck, maybe we'll even let him get an at-bat.
Sound like the White Sox trying to suck up the guy.
Maybe, hey, it's working for the Knicks. They're in the conference finals.
All right, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Will. Coming up, we have the latest on the Karen Reed murder retrial. The prosecution and defense sparring over new questions about the final moment between Reed and her boyfriend.
And the new evidence shown to the jury in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Our chief legal analyst Dan Abrams is here to break down the latest in both cases.
And how a fisherman rescued a teenage girl battling a rip current, and he did it without getting in the water. We'll tell you about the remarkable drone rescue at the beach. Back here on GMA, and that is Jamal Roberts, your new American Idol. He is a teacher in Mississippi whose life has changed. And he is going to be here this morning. He's going to perform live. That's coming up at our last half hour.
Puts a smile on your face. First new at 7:30. Good news for commuters this morning. New Jersey Transit is back up and running after their first transit strike in over 40 years. The engineers union reached a deal with New Jersey Transit Sunday night. Also, parole hearing for the Menendez brothers has been postponed, pushed back from June to August 21st and 22nd. Last week, a judge reduced their sentence in the 1989 murders of their parents, making them eligible for parole after more than 30 years behind bars.
And pro soccer player Savvy King taking to Instagram to thank the medical team that, quote, saved my life after she collapsed on the field during an NWSL game. She underwent surgery to treat a heart abnormality. King was released from the hospital over the weekend. She also thanked her family, her Angel City teammates, and fans for their support, and says she's looking forward to getting back on the field. And we're looking forward to watching you out there, Savvy. And now we're going to turn to the retrial of Karen Reed, entering its 5th week with new questions about the movement of Reed's SUV in the moments just before her boyfriend's death. Dan Abrams is standing by to break it down, but first, Eva Pilgrim is here with the latest. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning. Today will be day 19 in the Karen Reed retrial. The state presenting a different timeline of the night of the alleged murder in court. Reed calling the change the definition of an ambush. Meanwhile, her attorney questioning if the expert was really an expert.
This morning, new questions about those final moments between Karen Reed and her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Reed in the middle of a retrial, accused of backing her Lexus SUV into O'Keefe in a rage, leaving him to die in the snow. She claims that after a night of drinking, she dropped O'Keefe off at this house on Fairview Road and then drove back to his home to spend the night. Prosecutors examining GPS data and clocks on both Reed's SUV and O'Keefe's phone.
The clock in the Lexus, is that a universal time, or do clocks on different devices run differently?
Sure. So it's not a universal time. Clocks on different devices run differently. So if you've ever noticed that your microwave clock is not running in sync with your iPhone, the same thing is occurring here.
Prosecutors calling a digital forensics expert, testifying that when you calibrate the clock on her SUV and his phone, O'Keefe's phone stops moving at the same time Reed leaves in her SUV. This is a change from original reports which showed O'Keefe's phone taking steps after Reed's SUV left. The defense arguing that shows she didn't kill him.
How many times in your career, sir, have you submitted a supplemental or amended report in the middle of trial?
This would be the only one that I recall.
So this is the only time. How many years have you been doing this?
Approximately 10 years.
And so approximately 10 years, this is the first time you've submitted a amended supplemental report in the middle of a trial.
A supplemental report, correct.
The defense attacking the expert's credentials, pointing out that while his company's website and LinkedIn pages say he has a degree, he never graduated from college.
As you sit here today, you do not possess any bachelor's degree.
Correct.
So the state also had a DNA expert on the stand talking about a hair found on Reed's taillight. He said, based on DNA, that hair could belong to O'Keefe, but he couldn't confirm if it was his hair. Michael.
All right, Eva, thank you. And let's bring in ABC News chief legal analyst Dan Abrams. Dan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And, you know, the evidence about the SUV's movement, that's now in this retrial. Is that damaging to the defense? And if so, how much?
Look, it's new, right? It's a change. And it does, in theory, link the movements of the car to the point where his phone is locked for the last time. Pretty powerful stuff. But as Eva points out on cross-examination, they were able to pretty effectively undermine the credibility of this witness, not just with regard to his background, but also with regard to his methodology. So I think in the end, the testimony with regard to Karen Reed's own statements and the condition of the car are going to still end up being more important than this, new evidence.
You think Reed takes a stand this time?
I still don't think she does. I think it's more likely in this case than in the last one because there are more statements from her that need explaining, in particular her comments that she made after the last verdict. But I still don't think she's going to testify.
I still can't believe how many interviews she did after that first trial.
And in particular that she makes a comment that she might have clipped him, right? Yeah. That's a critical admission. So that, to me, you want to know what the single biggest difference is from the first trial and this one? It's that. Yeah. It's that interview.
Okay. Let's take a look at the Sean Diddy Combs trial right now. More women testified that they witnessed Combs physically assault his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Kontursky is at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. And to help prove their case against Sean Combs, federal prosecutors showed the jury pictures of the injuries Cassie Ventura said Combs inflicted. That evidence is now public, so we can show it to you, though some may be tough to see. This morning, the startling visual evidence at the heart of the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial of rap mogul Sean Combs. The jury seeing his glamorous singer and model ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura bruised on her lower back and gashed above her eye. Ventura said she would cover the bruises with makeup and sunglasses. Dawn Richard of Danity Kane testified she witnessed Combs punch Ventura in the face before a music festival with a closed fist, leaving Ventura with a black eye. Richard said she and Diddy Dirty Money bandmate Kalina Harper wore sunglasses that day in solidarity. Another time, Richard said she saw Combs punch Ventura in a restaurant in Los Angeles. They were secretly arguing, and he punched her in the stomach. Sean Combs punched her in the stomach. At the time, Richard said they were having dinner with other celebrities, including Usher and Neo. The defense said some of Richard's accounts changed 4 times and questioned whether she testified out of resentment because Combs dismantled both Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money.
Got your boyfriend feeling like a groupie. You know we don't stay.
You felt like Mr. Combs ruined your career not once, but twice, the defense asked. Richard replied, yes.
How'd it go in there?
Very proud of her. She's very courageous. She's an inspiration.
Ventura's one-time best friend, Kerry Morgan, testified she, too, witnessed Combs assaulting Ventura. Federal prosecutors said the violence was meant to coerce her into marathon sex performances fueled by drugs, with male prostitutes paid in cash, doused in baby oil, and bathed in mood lighting. Prosecutors said these supplies were found in Combs's hotel room the night he was arrested. The defense concedes Combs was violent, but argues it had nothing to do with sex, only jealousy and a drug addiction. Today, federal prosecutors expect to call Cassie Ventura's mother to the witness stand, along with one of the male escorts that participated in the freak-offs that Ventura knew as the Punisher. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, thanks. Dan Abrams is still here. So prosecutors pursuing a grab bag of charges. How are they doing?
Well, they've done a very good job of demonstrating that he abused Cassie, right? If that was what this trial was about, I think they would easily have a conviction. But that's not. The question number 1, racketeering. Have they shown a criminal enterprise? That's going to be tough for prosecutors. Number 2, sex trafficking. That's what a lot of this is about, right? Was this coercion and force and not done mutually or by consent? That's going to be a critical question for sex trafficking, and that one is a close call. But the third charge here may be the easiest one for prosecutors, which is transportation for the purposes of prostitution, meaning they just need to believe that 1 or 2 of these prostitutes were transported across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
Al Capone on tax evasion.
Right, exactly. So people are forgetting when they say, well, there's not going to be a conviction or there is going to be a conviction. I say, wait. You got to look at it issue by issue and charge by charge, because that's the way the jury's going to look at it.
And that third charge, what kind of time could he serve?
Up to 10 years on a charge like that. So even it would take off the life in prison, which is the RICO, but still talking about serious possible time.
We heard in Aaron's report that Cassie's mother is going to be taking the stand. How important could that be?
It's going to certainly present a powerful emotional punch, but I think that a lot of this is going to be consistent with what we've heard before, which is that Cassie was abused. She's going to talk about experiencing it with Cassie. These are things that other witnesses have also testified to. So I think she's going to corroborate that. She's going to corroborate Cassie, but she's mom, right? Yeah. In the end, she's mom. And I think that's going to add something for the jurors when it comes to kind of the emotional side of this as well.
Well, thank you for your insight on both of these high-profile cases that are getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dan, thanks. Now on GMA, with a life-saving drone rescue at the beach when a teenage girl was fighting a rip current for 5 long minutes. Rhiannon Alley is back with that story and what it means for swim safety as we get ready for Memorial Day weekend. Good morning again, Rhiannon.
Good morning, Robin. Yeah, 5 minutes is a long time when you're talking about fighting that rip current. This is the unofficial start of summer this weekend, and that means lots of fun on the water. This recent rescue is giving first responders a possible new way to save people from a tragic fate on the nation's lakes and beaches.
I was shaking pretty bad. It was nerve-wracking. I about cried.
Andrew Smith says he was fishing on Pensacola Beach when he saw a swimmer struggling in a rip current about 100 yards offshore.
I was sitting there, and this girl came running asking if anybody could swim, and I said, no, I absolutely cannot swim. And I looked down at the drone, and I was like, well, the drone can swim, I can't.
That's when Smith grabbed his drone, which he uses to cast bait. He tied a flotation device to the drone, hoping to fly it out to the teenage girl, but he missed on the first try.
And I flew it out, and it was a terrible miss. I released it too early. It was really windy.
By now, the girl had been battling the rip current for 5 long minutes. Then someone gave Smith a second flotation device.
I lowered it until you could see her hands grab it, and then I lowered it a little more and I released it, and then she climbed on it and started like floating. If it wasn't for that second drop, she wouldn't have made it. The EMS said she wouldn't have made it, the cops and the lifeguards.
The girl was able to use the flotation device until first responders arrived. Now, this isn't the first time they've used this. Using a drone to deliver flotation devices has actually been proven very effective in the past. Some have even created drone task forces trained in this kind of rescue. And this latest incident is getting even more safety officials to look into doing this, guys.
You know, we're just thankful that young girl is safe.
Yes.
All right. Rhiannon, thank you so much coming in this morning.
Now with our play of the day, we're giving 2 paws up. Let's pause. To a college service dog.
What?
Will, yeah, you got your story.
What was that? Anyway, this is a very sweet story. It is graduation season, so we're getting lots of commencement content. This is a great story. A dog is involved here. Cecilia Hernandez recently graduated Rollins College, and she had a special buddy by her side. This is Canella. Look how cute Canella is. Canella has been Cecilia's service dog since freshman year. Take a look at the special moment at graduation.
We also wish to recognize the service companion who has accompanied her throughout her Rollins career, Canella. I'm very pleased to present this service badge to Canella in recognition of her contributions to Cecilia's success at Rollins.
Yeah. Congrats to Cecilia and Canella.
That's adorable.
Bravo.
Yeah.
A service patch for Canella. Cecilia majored in chemistry, so that means that Canella had to wear PPE in the lab. The goggles, the vest, the whole thing. Congratulations to both graduates. There you go.
Oh, man, that's adorable.
That 2 paws up.
No, you guys, those are not paws.
These are hands. We have opposable thumbs.
Jessica Biel, Elizabeth Banks here live in Times Square telling us about their new series. Come on back. Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Destruction in the heartland. At least 5 reported tornadoes touching down. Neighborhoods barely recognizable. Lightning striking this police car. Ginger is in Oklahoma tracking the threat.
Stealing Love. A look at the new docuseries about 3 women who say they were falling in love with the same man.
Scott told me he had equipment failure on an oil rig. He needed $1,000.
Michael needed $5,000. Mark says it would be $10,000.
What happened next?
Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence reflects on her own postpartum experience.
It's extremely isolating.
As her new movie debuts to a huge ovation about a mom struggling with postpartum depression and psychosis. Plus, what her co-star and new dad Robert Pattinson said.
Having a baby gives you the biggest trove of energy and inspiration. You're going to have to...
Energy?
And you're invited.
Welcome, everyone. We can begin.
To spend the morning with 9 perfect strangers. Nicole Kidman and the new stars tell us about the new season. As they say,
Good morning, America.
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. South Carolina women's basketball coach and a good friend, Dawn Staley, is here with us. She has 3 national championships, 3 Olympic gold medals. She's in so many Hall of Fames, I can't even name them all, has her own statue. And yes, she's got her book that she's here to talk about called Uncommon Favor. But to have her statue there in South Carolina, where her folks were from, though she's North Philly, but originally her folks were from South Carolina, and for their daughter to have a statue and her to have that book. Can't wait to talk to her coming up.
Looking forward to that.
So she's accomplished a few things.
Yeah, a little bit,
little bit. Happy to have her here. And just ahead, Costco has just announced its own buy now, pay later offer. We're going to break down the rules you need to know.
First, look at the top stories breaking today. We start with the latest round of severe weather overnight. At least 5 tornadoes reported. I'm going to go back to Ginger in Oklahoma. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, George. More than 280 severe storm reports, and I'm in front of just one of the many homes that were destroyed or heavily damaged here in Pittsburgh, Oklahoma. The exterior wall stripped and flattened there on the ground, and what was in the home that is now gutted, all the contents, a debris field with big-time tree damage around here as well. This is from the ground, but you can see the video from the aerials from Pittsburgh, Oklahoma, one of the towns hard hit last night with a tornado. They'll get out and do this survey today, but a lot of homes were destroyed here. And then you have up to Kansas City, where you had that damaging wind come through, the trees on top of houses, on top of cars. And I don't want anyone to lose the sensitivity to this because we've got another day of it ahead. What will happen differently today is about 6 p.m. this cold front's going to come through. So yesterday we were watching the dry line. Today it's the actual cold front. And that will come through until about 11 p.m. That's when it gets to Kentucky, parts of northern Alabama. And it's going to be an all night, even after the sun goes down event. We can see damaging wind primarily, Robin, but inside and embedded in those lines, spin enough to make tornadoes.
All right, Ginger, our thanks to you for your reporting there in Oklahoma. We'll be back to you in just a bit. We're going to turn now to the new rules from Southwest for passengers flying with a popular travel staple. Andrew Dimber is here with the latest on that. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Robin. Chances are you use or have one of these, or at least you've seen one before, a portable charging brick or power bank for your phone or other devices. Well, if you're flying Southwest Airlines, there are some changes you need to know about when, how, and where you can use and store one of these on a flight. Passengers on Southwest Airlines will no longer be allowed to store their portable charging devices in their bags or overhead bins. You're now required to keep them in, quote, plain sight. Southwest has already begun notifying passengers of this rule change, displaying this message on their app to flyers during check-in. The reason? The airline wants to make it easier for crews to intervene if a lithium battery goes up in flames. This after a string of fires during flights. So far, 19 lithium battery incidents have been reported on flights this year, and this new rule is believed to be a first of its kind in industry policy. But given that other airlines have had their share of trouble with portable chargers, do not be surprised if more airlines follow suit with restrictions of their own. Michael?
It's all about safety, though, Andrew. Thank you for that. And we're going to turn now to Costco, who's jumping on the buy now, pay later bandwagon, offering the popular payment plan on some of its purchases. Consumer correspondent Becky Worley is here with what you need to know. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Michael. BNPL, buy now, pay later. It allows consumers to buy items, but then pay for them over a specified length of time rather than upfront, often in installments. And now Costco has an official program. But there are some rules you need to know. First of all, you can only use the option online, not in Costco stores. It's only for purchases between $500 and, get this, $17,500. Yes. Yes. There are items that cost that much. And you're going to use Costco's payment partner, Affirm. You can pick a payment time from 3 to 36 months, but there is interest. Costco says it ranges from 10% to 36%. So let's give you some examples. A $500 purchase with a 20% APR will cost you $529 if you pay over 6 months, 12 months, $550, 18 months, $578. For a lot of families, this is about stretching big purchases over multiple paychecks, but it's just important to know buy now, pay later does come at a cost, and missing or late payments can affect your credit rating. And yes, $500 to $17,500. I think I could drop it easy to $500 in store. But,
but 10 to 36%.
Woo, 36%. I couldn't imagine.
Weighing it up.
There you go.
That's right.
Want it bad enough, I guess.
We love having you in the studio.
Great to be with you guys.
All right, Becky. Coming up in our GMA morning menu, Oscar winner and mom of two, Jennifer Lawrence, talking about her postpartum experience.
Also had inside romance scams, how 3 women thought they were in love with the same man. It cost them thousands. We're going to tell you what happened next.
Plus, you'll never guess who's joining Tom Hanks and the gang in Toy Story 5. We're going to find out in Pop News. And Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks are here. Some people think they look like sisters. Well, now they're playing sisters. They tell us all about it. That's coming up right here on GMA.
We're back now with our GMA cover story. Oscar-winning actress and mom of two, Jennifer Lawrence, reflecting on her own postpartum experience as her new movie about a mother dealing with postpartum is already generating Oscar buzz. And Rhiannon, we're getting our money's worth out of you to say. You're back with that story as well.
Always happy to be with you guys.
Good.
By the way, Jennifer Lawrence says motherhood can make you feel like an alien. I personally agree with that. I think a lot of moms can. But she says that being a mom actually not only helped her with this role, it also changed her life. This morning, actress Jennifer Lawrence opening up about motherhood.
Having children changes everything. It changes your whole life. It's brutal and incredible. They go into every decision of if I'm working, where I'm working, when I'm working.
The Academy Award winner speaking at the Cannes Film Festival, where her new film, Die, My Love, received a 6-minute standing ovation.
They've changed my life for the best, and they've changed me creatively. I highly recommend having kids if you want to be an actor.
The movie about a mother grappling with postpartum depression and psychosis. Lawrence, a mom of 2, reflecting on her own postpartum experience.
It's extremely isolating, which is so interesting when Lynn, moves this couple into Montana. She doesn't have a community. She doesn't have her people. But the truth is, extreme anxiety and extreme depression is isolating. No matter where you are, you feel like an alien.
You're spending so much time holding, caring, feeding the baby that you're losing certain things that might make you feel more connected to others. It not only takes a village to raise a baby, but it also takes a village to take care of a new mom.
Her co-star, actor Robert Pattinson, also a new parent, sharing how the experience has changed him.
Having a baby gives you the biggest trove of energy and inspiration. You're going to have to...
Energy?
It's a different kind of energy. This question is impossible for a guy to answer correctly. It's literally just like what Jennifer said. I'm here just to support.
Smart answer, Rob. Lawrence was 4 months pregnant with her second child when she started shooting this film. She said the pregnancy hormones helped her with the emotion of this role, and you can just tell how closely she feels to this source material. She did say that she did have to keep a line between her personal life as a mom and her professional life as well.
And every mom watching nodded their head when she said energy.
Exactly. And he said, guys should not be answering this question.
He was backpedaling real fast.
Smart man. Smart man. Thank you, Rhiannon. Appreciate that. It's time for Pop News with Will Reed. What you got, bud?
Hello. I got a lot of good stuff today. We're going to start with Toy Story 5. Yes, they are making a Toy Story 5. And this update on Toy Story 5 comes courtesy of Conan O'Brien. The comedian, podcaster, Oscar host is taking his talents to the Toy Story universe. He's set to join the next installment in the franchise. He's going to lend his voice to a new character called Smarty Pants. Yeah. Although he has said he had his eye on a different role or two. Take a look from Conan himself.
Initially, I wanted the role of Woody. And they told me that they already promised that to Tom Hanks. So I said, okay, how about Buzz Lightyear? And they were like, and I said, let me guess, Tim Allen. But anyway, then they showed me this new character, Smarty Pants. It's the best character of them all. I don't even want to play Woody or Buzz anymore, even if they beg me.
We're just glad he's in it. According to Disney, in this movie, Buzz, Woody, Jesse, and the rest of the gang's jobs get exponentially harder when they go head-to-head with an all-new threat to playtime, technology. Toy Story 5 is set to hit theaters June 19th, 2026. That is an excellent idea.
Great idea.
Hits a little close to home.
Yes.
Speaking of close to home, let's bring Pop News home right here as we at GMA continue to celebrate our GMA 50 all year long. We've been recognized by the Paley Center as one of their 2025 Honors Award recipients. Last night at the Paley Honors Gala, the Spring Gala, the media nonprofit bestowed its highest honor on GMA in celebration of the show's 5 decades on air. Some familiar faces were there to accept the award. Take a look at this. It was so nice.
Our show represents even more than stories we cover or the headlines we bring to our viewers. Our show, it represents an intention. An intention. You have no idea what it means to all of us to be able to say good morning to America. And it's been a great way to start my day for more than 2 decades now.
It's been such a privilege to be part of this incredible institution with this incredible team, and to wake up every morning and try to bring people the news of the day, but also try to start their day with a smile.
When the show first started, David Hartman, Nancy Dussault, they hosted that first broadcast from what the set resembled a living room. It was comfortable. It was familiar. It had a mix of news, weather, and conversation. And that connects with people in an authentic way. So every morning, when we are in that studio after all these years, that's what we lean on.
And I would say we do a good job. You guys were wonderful last night. It was a pleasure and an honor to be in the room.
How was the steak?
Delicious, actually. Yeah, I stuck around for dinner. We all had to get up early this morning.
That was very nice to be recognized.
Yeah.
And then Josiah, all the recipients last night.
It was a great night. Congrats again. Congrats, GMA. Our thanks to David Muir for presenting the award. It was a special night.
And David was there.
Yes, he was. He gave the he kicked it off. It was very nice. We thank everybody for loving GMA. And finally this morning, the world's most famous amphibian, Kermit the Frog, is gearing up. It's commencement time, guys. He's sending off the University of Maryland's class 2025 by delivering the commencement address at the graduation ceremony Thursday. He's given us a little preview. Check it out.
I recently updated my memoir, Before You Leap, a frog's eye view of life's greatest lessons, so I guess I was already in the advice-giving mindset, but I thought about, what I would wish that I'd have known when I first left the swamp and followed my dream of heading out to Hollywood. Everything you experience in your life is part of your growth and part of your journey, so I'm not so sure that I would have done much differently.
All right, thank you, Kermit. Kermit's creator, Jim Henson, is a Maryland alum. He graduated in 1960. Kermit went on to say his biggest worry is that people in the back might not be able to see because he's pretty short. His best piece of advice is never stop pretending.
I think it would be fun to have Kermit as a graduate.
I totally disagree. I love Kermit. I love the Muppets, but that voice would be a lot on the morning of graduation. We got to go, though, so save me here.
We're going to turn now to the hit series 9 Perfect Strangers. Chris Connolly is here. He sat down with the cast. Hey, Chris.
Hey, good morning, George. Yeah, it's a new season and a new cast of 9 Perfect Strangers embarking on a retreat in the Alps this time. Once again, Nicole Kidman's wellness guru has psychedelic concoctions and methods to help people to address the past traumas that are denying them happiness in the here and now. But will they enjoy the trips? Along the 8-episode way, expect lots of twists, turns, and secrets coming to light. Oh, and laughter.
9 people chosen under bizarre circumstances.
Voila.
For a healing retreat.
Martin.
Feels like a setup.
Does it ever? The juicy second season of the Hulu traumatic drama 9 Perfect Strangers puts the well into the wild world of wellness.
So what brings you here?
It's vacation.
Got it.
Everyone's going to get it this season. It's a new cast of 9 going into isolation at a luxurious retreat on a snowy mountaintop. And look who's back to help them do it.
Welcome, everyone. We can begin.
That's Nicole Kidman's charismatic and imperious Masha, the cutting-edge wellness doyenne, bringing these strangers together and dosing them with mind-bending substances as they seek to heal their sufferings past and repair present-day relationships.
Nicole, you were such a sensation in the first season of this show. What was it that made you want to come back for season 2?
She's such a shapeshifter, and you can she morphs. And that's a fantastic character to play, who's constantly changing and is mercurial and is, you can't quite put your finger on what she's doing. And that's just a great role to play.
I invited you all here because sometimes you shouldn't deal with pain gently.
Wait, this is not a spa? She's gonna bleach our brains, darling.
Among the strangers with generational issues, Crazy Rich Asians star Henry Golding.
What is it that brings you, your character, to this particular place?
So my character is Peter, and he has daddy issues. And so he is sort of at Zauberwald to try to kind of come to terms with this Goliath of a father. And he wants some sense of love that he's been searching for his entire life.
At first, what Murray Bartlett's character wants most is his luggage.
Symbolically, I guess I'm bringing a lot of baggage, you know, as we all are in these characters. Brian, my character, is a kids' TV show host who has deep-rooted anger issues, a lot of rage, and in his
You think that might be a challenge in that line of work?
An Emmy winner for the first season of The White Lotus, Bartlett's also earned acclaim for the Long, Long Time episode of The Last of Us, his career catching fire at last.
How does it feel to be the toast of the town?
I have to say it's a beautiful thing to happen at this point in my life, because I do have a grey beard. I don't know if you've noticed. You know, one of the great things about it happening now is I don't take any of it for granted.
Off the set, the picturesque, out-of-the-way European venue, turning these strangers into good friends.
How did being up there in the Alps sort of affect the vibe?
Divine.
Yeah, it was so
We loved it. We all want to go back.
There's a bonding that happens when you're all away from your sort of regular lives and you're kind of forced together.
It's like a summer camp.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the best summer camps possible because we're like a traveling circus. There was one weekend we came in on a Monday and I was like, oh, Nicole, what did you get up to this weekend? And she was like, oh, you know, I was swimming in the river in Salzburg. And I was like, what?
First two episodes of 9 Perfect Strangers Season 2 premiere tomorrow on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. The remaining 6 episodes will drop weekly to follow, guys.
Yeah, looks interesting.
Should
Thank
be
you,
fun.
Chris. We'll be right back.
Aloha! Good morning, America! My name, Stitch. Watch out! I am coming to see you!
Okay. Cast of Lilo and Stitch is coming to Times Square, as you just saw. Maya Kiloha, who plays Lilo, will be here tomorrow, and it's promised Stitch, I guess, will be here as well. Michael?
Looking forward. You're going to do that interview, right?
I guess so.
All right, but you know what? We're about to do another one because we are here now with Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks, who are sharing the screen for the first time in the new show, The Better Sister, based on a New York Times best-selling novel. Welcome them both here to GMA. Welcome you both. Yes. All right, this show, so many twists and turns.
Yes.
Okay, Jessica, what can you tell us without giving it away?
Oh man, we've got sister dynamics, we've got family trauma and drama, we've got murder, we've got
Dead
lies
body.
and deceit and
Naked body.
all the things you want to see.
We're in.
Yeah,
we're there. We're in.
What else do we have to tell you? It's a whodunit, and in the end, you're gonna know who done it. It's very satisfying.
You all could play sisters. I mean, and you know, a lot of people thought that you all were sisters.
We had heard that we
forever.
looked alike. I think
Yeah.
it's the cheekbones.
Absolutely.
I wish I looked more like Jessica.
Oh my God.
She's one of the most beautiful humans in the world.
Oh my gosh.
It's a real compliment to me.
I got you.
I don't know. I think you make it up that people told you I looked. That you
No,
looked
I
like
didn't.
me.
No, I absolutely did not.
on.
We have heard this forever, and we've never actually worked together.
No, we've never worked together.
until
We had met
now.
before, but this was the first time. And as you can tell, it came.
Yeah, it's cool.
It happened
We're really-
very naturally.
We're really happy together.
Is it true you also got some mom advice from Elizabeth?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally, she said to me when we had coffee the first time
Yeah.
together, she goes, well, my kids go to camp for 7 weeks in the summer. I said, how? Tell me how. Now, start at the beginning, and what do I do to make that happen? And so that was our love affair.
been a 4-weeker.
I got 4 weeks this summer.
We're both boy moms, you know.
Yeah.
We have that energy. We share that, and mine are a little older, so I'm a little bit ahead. So she's like, "How's it? What's coming next?" And that's what we've been able to share about a lot.
But also career-wise, I mean, this is like a career hero for me. Directing,
Yep.
producing, writing.
Agreed.
I mean, comedian, everything. Like, yes,
Got to do a
please.
game show now.
All of it. She does everything. It's amazing.
Let's take a look at a clip.
Hey, Nikki. Hey, sis. This is awful. I'm so sorry, Chloe. I'm really sorry.
What are you guys doing over there? This Queen and your whole
We're sisters.
What are you talking about over there?
We don't get to see each other that much. We have to take every second. No, when we were talking about that clip, and that is the first time that our characters get together. We haven't seen, we're estranged. We are both married to the same man. She steals my husband, everybody. So
Okay.
There's a really interesting dynamic happening at the heart of this show. And to center sisterhood,
The plot
too.
thickens. I love it.
That's a good
It's
one.
really good, yeah.
I almost can't get out to that question. Okay, but the set took on like a summer camp feel. And so much so that you took like a little family trip to your husband's concert.
We did.
The whole cast went, plus some of our amazing crew. We were there with our writers and
Jessica was the
showrunners.
hostess with the mostest, to be honest. I mean, she has
it's
so many
fun.
people. It's New York City, Madison Square Garden. Justin had sold it out. It's such a great show. We had so much fun dancing and just, everything.
It's just a good way to break the ice, and music brings everybody together, and it's honestly, it's one of the best things to sort of be around him and his show in that way, just because it's so much fun. I know you guys have, some of you have gone to the show.
I went to the show, and I texted him afterwards like, you're crazy because he's leaning on that platform.
That thing was nuts.
Yeah, he said it sounded like a good idea when they brought it up until I'm up there and I'm looking down going, not so smart, Justin.
His thoracic spine. I was worried about the thoracic spine every night, that holding the back. Every time I was like, oh God, please.
Let's get the summer camp theme going here, because I can't believe it's been 25 years. Wet, hot American summer. All right. And there was a scene that fans really loved that I understand was also impactful when you were filming it.
Which?
The favorite scene from fans?
Does it have to do with barbecue sauce being all over my face? Because that's what most people yell at me in the subway.
That's what they yell at you?
Yeah. Well, because Paul Rudd says I don't like you anymore after. It's a nice little bit. We did a lot. First of all, I can't believe it's been 25 years. It's incredible. The cast is unreal. Like, where everyone's gotten to is insane. Everyone from Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler and Bradley Cooper. And I mean, it's just wild to me.
Did you guys know when you were on set
that it was something?
You know, what's so funny is Paul was on the cover of Interview magazine while we were making it, and we were all like, oh my God. Paul Rudd might, go places, Like, he's, cute and funny. Like, he might have it. And turns out we were right. We did.
I think everybody have done all right. You guys have done
We
all
all
right.
did fine. But no, Amy wasn't on SNL yet. Everybody was, strivers. And that was what was so fun. We were all in it together. It really was summer camp back then. And I saying it's 25 years is, whoa, really feels like it was yesterday.
Well, it feels like it was yesterday to us, too. And you're producing this?
Yeah, we both are.
You do everything.
So
my
cool.
goodness. Well, we're happy here. Don't let this be the only time you two work together and you come back and see us and talk about it.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, we would do it again in a heartbeat.
All right, we love having you two here. And The Better Sister, I don't know who is who. Somebody's stealing husbands over here. But The Better Sister, it premieres May 29th on Prime Video. Make sure you check it out.
Now, the new docuseries on romance scams, which cost victims more than $1 billion a year. Hey Beautiful, Anatomy of a Romance Scam, tells the story of 3 women who lost thousands thinking they were in love with one man. Stephanie Ramos says this preview.
When you're in love, you feel hope for the future.
It's the new docuseries making many take a second look at who they think they're talking to online.
He was telling me everything I wanted to hear.
I trusted him so much, I gave him all my personal information.
I had lost almost everything. Hey Beautiful, Anatomy of a Romance Scam follows 3 women who thought they were falling in love with this man.
I believe in the fairy tale. I think if you really want it, it could happen in your own life.
He was there for me. I felt great, and I felt safe, and I'm glad that I'm not alone. I started to fall in love with him.
The man they think they're talking to going by different names, but one thing stayed the same: requests for money.
Scott told me he had equipment failure on an oil rig, and he needed $1,000.
Michael needed $5,000. Mark says it would be $10,000.
That's when they started asking questions.
I suggested to fly to London.
What about your bosses? Isn't there anybody? No, I can't get it from anybody.
He's like, I promise you I will pay you back with interest.
And tracked down the man behind the pictures.
I am not Michael Silver. I'm not Scott Donald Hall. The person I really am goes much deeper than that.
And you can see all 3 episodes of Hey Beautiful, Anatomy of a Romance Scam, streaming now on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
I am here now with 3-time Olympic gold medalist, 6-time WNBA All-Star, 3-time NCAA National Championship winning head coach of the University of South Carolina, Dawn Staley, ladies and gentlemen, here. She is now, she is now an author. It's a new book. It's called Uncommon Favor. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning.
Back in your playing days in Virginia, I was just reliving that. I'm just so incredibly proud of you. And this book, it's your first one. And I remember we were in Cleveland. It was after you had won the 3rd national championship, undefeated. And you used a phrase, you said uncommon favor. And a lot of our viewers, they leaned in and you named your book that. Why?
I mean, there's no other description of my life. I think when things happen to you, I mean, people work hard for things. Sure. You can pour into yourself. You can prep for things. But when you are actually blessed with uncommon favor, the undefeated season, I've had incredible teams, but the unlikeliest team won a national championship in an undefeated way. And it's always crazy when I think about uncommon favor is when God said, I can show you better than I can tell you, has been my life. And the team talked about what the title of the book would be. And I mean, we threw out titles. Sure. And everything just came back to uncommon favor, and it's just so fitting.
I remember when you said it during the interview, and it even struck me, and as I said, it did with our viewers as well. Reading the book, I thought I knew you, but reading the book, I really got to know you. I knew basketball, was one of the pillars in your life. The way you talk also about your mother, and of course about North Philly. Why are those the 3 cornerstones of the book?
They have been, my mom, North Philly and basketball, great teachers in my life. Like, I have everything I needed in my life in order for me to be successful, because through all of them, my mom was a disciplinarian. She ran a tight ship, right? Basketball is unforgiving. If you don't pour into it, it won't pour into you. North Philly, North Philly raised me, like really. Like when you grow up in the projects in North Philly, you're either going to fall prey to what's happening, or you're going to rise above. And there are resources within your community that help you rise above. And I just had all 3 working. We had great synergy, but it was also, fighting against each other because. I wanted one thing, my mom wanted another thing, North Philly may be pulling at me, basketball pulls at you, and together in unison, we were able to create a book, to create a life that is full of so many experiences that each and every one of us can resonate with.
I know, and anybody, you don't have to be a basketball fan or anything like that. There's so many life lessons in this book. I did not realize, because here you have 3 national championships in South Carolina. You never thought about being a coach, and here you are, and the way you are leading these young women, and there's something that you wrote in your book that was so good about leading your players. You said, I can't ask them to stand up for themselves if I'm sitting down. I can't encourage them to use their voice to affect change if I'm only willing to whisper. How can somebody learn to listen to that whisper and to put it into action?
Well, I think you have to get to know yourself, and you have to be your authentic self. Like I live my life every day as me. I don't have to put on any airs. I do think being over 50 allows you to do that.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's right.
Your life leans out, and you know what you want, and you know what you don't want, and you operate from a look, sound, or feel. If something looks, sounds, or feels off, you address it, If it looks, sounds, or feels great, you promote it and you encourage it. And that's how I live my life.
I know, and you wrote about that, look, sound, and feel, and you can apply it in different areas of your life. So if somebody does not follow basketball and they're listening to you the first time going, oh, I didn't, what is it that you want them to get out of this book?
Well, I think the book and my life is based on beating the odds. Like I've beat the odds, and I've done it in a way that is just homegrown. It's just navigating through life as I see fit. So there's no wrong answers when it comes to life. Really, it isn't, because you take this journey, it's yours, it's personal, but you use other people's lives to kind of navigate to reassure yourself that you're doing all the right things. And if you fall off the wagon, pick yourself up, get back on, and figure out what your disciplines are for you. Mm-hmm. And they're very personal to you, and know that and stick to them.
Yeah, I know. Could you ever imagine that you would have a statue in South Carolina where your folks are from? I know North Philly is your home.
Yes.
But your folks, youngins coming from South Carolina.
It speaks to the book, Uncommon Favor. Like it's unimaginable. I had goals of being an Olympian. I had goals of being a national champion. I didn't never have a goal of having a statue. But now, other little girls can grow up and say, I want a statue. That's a goal of mine, to have a statue. And it's so incredibly cool because only 6% of women across the world have a statue. Where's yours? Where's yours?
I'm working on it. But I need some Uncommon Favor. It's a blessing to be in your presence, and I appreciate everything that you do. And I want folks to know that Uncommon Favor is available now. You got to stick around. American Idol winner Jamal Roberts is going to perform live when we come back. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Robert.
My goodness, we're back now with a new winner of American Idol, Jamal Roberts. This teacher from Mississippi is here performing his brand new single, Heal.
Take my mind and take my pain, like an empty bottle takes the rain, and heal. Tell me some things last, and tell me something last, and tell me something last. Because something less. You're the only one that can do it for me. We need you. We need you to heal, Jesus. Oh, you're the only one. You're the only one that can heal. Depression, Jesus, from suicidal thoughts, we need you to heal right now. From sickness, you're the only one. Restoration right now.
This is a great way. It was a great way to end our morning. That man right there, American Idol, Jamal Roberts. Thank you for that great performance, and thank you all for watching.
Have a great day, everyone.
See you tomorrow.